Wonderful. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this afternoon. We have an incredible guest with us today, a recurring guest, one who's going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than our brother Minister Leo Muhammad out of London. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam, my dear beloved brother. Thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much for inviting me back. It feels so wonderful to be able to come back onto the People's Podcast so early, so quickly. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. All praises due to Allah. Thank everyone who continues to like, share, and subscribe to the People's Podcast. And last week, people were sending me questions, messaging me on Facebook, as well as YouTube, so our YouTube family, and texting me as well. Well, the first question that I have for you, sir, is tomorrow's the 4th of July, and it has a double meaning. But specifically with us dealing with the reality of what UFOs, and you said you giving us different terminology that people use for the mother plane. What is the importance of the 4th of July to Black people all across the world?
Yeah, it's a beautiful question, dear brother. Thank you. Well, of course, everyone knows that the 4th of July traditionally has become known as American Independence Day.
Yes, sir.
And
yes,
I believe that took place in around 1776. However, the God that the entire world has been waiting for, and who we believe appeared in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, he revealed himself, appeared to us in the person on July 4th, 1930, some 91, almost 92 years ago tomorrow. And so the significance of that, my dear beloved brother, is that the Caucasian people who dominate that part of the world called North America, they became the predominant enslavers. They, along with the British, who, whether people really understand or not, appreciate or not, the British Empire and the new American Empire, they never refer to it as an empire, but make no mistake about it, America is the new empire taken over from the old Roman Empire and the British Empire, and now the American Empire. Britain and America are literally joined at the hip, joined at the heart, and joined at the head. And so this independence in America was supposed to be an independence from Britain, from England, from a overbearing king who was taking taxes, but without those Americans conducting the American experiment being able to really benefit from, this setting up of these initially 13 colonies, which have now grown into some 52 states. And so, again, a lot of people don't necessarily appreciate, but the history has been written that America became independent from Britain. But in reality, what happened was that there was a compromise, and the brains from Britain continued to rule over North America, whilst the masses of the Europeans from Germany and Italy and England and Ireland and Scotland and Germany, all of these places, they then populated that land. They basically destroyed the Native Americans, took the land from the Native Americans, and used the Black Africans, enslaved us and used us to build America. They used Chinese people to build railways and other things. They've used many peoples from many parts of the world, because America is this great melting pot of people, but with the European white man always sitting on the top of the pile, on the top of the pyramid, while everybody else beneath have been used in order to create this experiment called North America. Now, this independence, my dear brother, is celebrated by it's really a white celebration, but they've been very clever to make many Black people and other people to think that it really is about them as well. And so oftentimes you will see, on the 4th of July, everybody getting involved in celebrating this great independence of this great nation called America. So when the God made himself known, he deliberately made himself known on the day that this great power that no one can challenge on the planet. America is this mighty power with Britain. Don't forget, they are joined at the hip. They haven't separated themselves from Britain. But nonetheless, they rule the earth. They rule the oceans. They rule the skies in terms of military power and prowess. And also, they dominate the sphere of economics and everything else, even in terms of the social realities, in terms of films and entertainment, whatever. Most of the stuff that we get here in the UK, my dear brother, comes out of Hollywood. It comes from America. You understand what I'm saying? We're very, very familiar with the American shows and the American programs and the American films because we are fed a diet of such. And so Almighty God Allah, when he appeared in person, he was really making a statement, and he was declaring the independence of his people from that independence celebration that takes place on the 4th. And what he was actually doing was usurping American independence and placing our independence over and above that independence that America claims on the 4th of July. So it's a very, very significant time, a very significant day tomorrow. This period is very, very critical time because in truth, my dear brother, even though, he declared our independence some 92 years ago tomorrow, in fact, about it, we haven't as a people taken that independence. Many of us, most of us are still trying to integrate ourselves into the white man's world, still begging him for all of the needs and wants that we desire, as opposed to acting like an independent people, recognizing that we have an independent flag and recognizing that we now have a God who is our God and we are his people, and that we can actually go for self. And so this is the tremendous job that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has been doing now for some 67 years or such, and in teaching us this reality. And of course, before him, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was also teaching for 40 years this profound wisdom of independent separation and doing for self. And so, it's a very, very significant date, my dear brother, the 4th of July. And in particular, going back to what we was discussing last week, the 4th of July 2020 was that magnificent day from the garden when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan spoke about that wheel. And of course, Hollywood couldn't leave that date alone. And so they made the movie Independence Day. And then they talked about the great wheel, the great motherships in the sky that would come and basically offer no compromise to this world and begin to attempt to destroy this world. But of course, in the end, according to Hollywood's version of events, Hollywood wins, Satan wins. And we know that's just a fantasy, but it's very, very important that our people who are tuned in to this show this evening appreciate that the 4th of July is an extremely important day for Black people, not just in North America, but Black people in the Western Hemisphere, and in truth, Black people all over planet Earth. All praise is due to Allah.
All praise is due to Allah. Yes, sir. My sister Miriam sends the greetings, and people all over the country are showing love. I can't wait to put this on YouTube. Please let us know where you all are watching from. Yes, sir. Brother Leo, my next question for you is, I always watch this man named Joe Rogan, who has a podcast, and he's a white man, but he brings white guests on to speak about UFOs. And many of them bear witness without saying that this is to the teaching of Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but they believe in the reality of UFOs. They speak of the government. They speak of people. It's being hidden in plain sight. They say, like, look, we believe it. We've seen it. We've seen bedside confessions from pilots, naval pilots who've seen Air Force pilots who've seen the aircraft, seen baby planes, seen this. What will it take? And these have millions of views on YouTube. What do you think it will take for the masses of the people to believe and bear witness that there is, in fact, baby planes and mother planes are real? What do you think it would take?
You know, the sad thing, my dear brother, is that we're taught that by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that history is best qualified to reward our research.
Yes, sir.
And what that tells us is that we should always, first and foremost, look at the history. You know, if you and I were to go to the doctor tomorrow, one of the first questions the doctor will ask is, have you had these symptoms before? If you go to the dentist, the first thing he has to do is check your teeth to see what has happened prior to what he may want to do today. If you purchase a house, you got to go get yourself a surveyor to have a look at the foundations and look at the quality of that property to see whether or not it's worthwhile you invest in that type of money into it. In every aspect of life, my dear brother, if you decide you want to buy a pair of shoes tomorrow, you don't go and measure your feet. You just walk into the store and you say to the shopkeeper, I would like a pair of shoes, size 8 or size 9 or whatever the case may be. Why? How are you so sure? Why? Because you measured your feet historically and you know that they haven't grown in the period of time since the last time you bought a pair of shoes. And so history is best qualified to reward our research. We're also taught, brother, that those who forget history are doomed to repeat it.
Yes, sir.
And that we should learn from history. Unfortunately, as a people, generally, we don't appear to learn from history. And this is why I began by saying it's sad, because it would appear, and I heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan say, that it's going to take more than teaching to wake us up. And what comes after the teaching, what comes after the trumpet is chastisement. And you see, if you study the scriptures, you will see that in the days of Noah, he was warning the people, building that ark, my dear brother. And, you know, the image I have in my mind is of the people of that day taking sightseeing trips to see the crazy man in the desert building the boat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Laughing and mocking. And if they had instant cameras, they would have been taking pictures or little videos, TikTok videos, and maybe dancing in the background, saying, look at this crazy guy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's going to be a flood, you see? If you go back to Sodom and Gomorrah, again, the people were being warned, but the people literally, even when the death angels came, they were trying to have sexual relations with the death angels and not even appreciating the danger that they were in. They were eating, they were drinking, they were marrying, they were partying, they were doing all these things. And if you look at this world, we just now emerging from this so-called pandemic. And if you listen to the language of the people, and the people have been hoodwinked by the social scientists and the politicians, because the language that is used constantly is, we want to get back to normal. We want to get back to normal coming out of the pandemic. But what is normal? Especially coming out of a black man or a black woman's mouth. Get back to normal? What's normal? Normal is police brutality. Normal is dying in custody or getting shot down in the street by the police and receiving no justice. Normal is being the last hired, the first fired. Normal is trying to aspire to greatness within your field of endeavor, but finding that there's some kind of glass ceiling. What's normal? Normal is discrimination in schools, discrimination in the workplace, and we can go on and on and on. Normal is being experimented on with vaccines or being experimented on with other forms of drugs from the pharmaceutical companies, unbeknownst to the people. This is the reality. So when people are saying we want to get back to normal, it's important for us to appreciate that we shouldn't be using this type of foolish language about getting back to normal. We should be looking at history and appreciating what's going on, for instance, with the weather and why the weather is so all over the place now. You can't predict what's going to happen from one day to the next. The scripture says there'll be earthquakes in diverse places. There'll be all kinds of upheaval, volcanoes and all kinds of stuff going off. And what we should be doing is looking at the frequency of these things historically, especially when it comes to the scriptures, because it tells you, it gives you a warning about the type of things to look out for, the pestilence and the plagues and so on and so forth, which gives you an indication of what's coming. And so, it's unfortunate, my dear brother, but I think the vast majority of people will only believe. You see how convoluted my answer is. But I think the vast majority of people will only believe, my dear brother, when those baby planes are above their heads, above the major cities of the world, and possibly when the bombs begin to fall. Because we are such, we're so hard-headed, brother. We're so stiff-necked. Most of the believing people today, they would tell you, and they'll be lying, that if they were around in the days of Noah, if they were around in the days of Lot, if they were around in the days of Jesus, that they would have been right there. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And,
yes, sir.
But that's easy to say. But we are around today in the day of Farrakhan. You see? And even though the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the most humble human being I personally have ever met in my life, and he wouldn't claim such, he is in that same category and then some in terms of those prophets and those great sages of history who made predictions and who warned the people,
Yes,
and the
sir.
people ignored them. And so I would suggest to the people, listen to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, listen to the teachings about the great mothership and the 1,500 baby wheels, and the fact that this is a military weapon designed to destroy a world of evil. And that, Joe Rogan and his guests, yeah, they bear witness, brother. They know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And they're very alarmed. Some of the military people that he gets on, some of them have received classified information. Some of them have been to places like Area 51 and whatever. Some of them have been privy to some very, very serious information. And they, are warning the world that these things are real, that we should be taking them very, very seriously. But unfortunately, as I said, even though I think you pointed out that millions of people see Joe Rogan's podcast, but despite that, brother, I heard a motivational speaker was talking. I can't remember exactly who it was. It may have been that Caucasian man, Anthony Robbins. And he was talking about, he was giving some statistics about seminars and how, for instance, you may have in attendance upwards of 1,000 people in the room. But of that 1,000 people, when you break it down, maybe between 10, 15 or 20 people will actually run with what they learned in that 2 or 3 day seminar. Out of 1,000, brother. You see?
Yes,
so
sir.
It's like when we give out flyers for shows or for events, and you may give out 5,000 flyers, and from that, maybe 200 people may show up in terms of who receive the fly. Other people will come from word of mouth and from other types of advertising or whatever. But that's the way the statistics work. The fact is that even people will hear the truth, they will know, and they will believe, but they won't act on what they believe. For one reason or another, many of us are reluctant to carry into action. See, that's why in the nation we're taught mere belief counts for nothing unless carried into action. See, there's an action that is required. Come out of her, my people. Be not partakers of her sins and her plagues. But many of us find it extremely difficult to make that action move. And that's why the members of the Nation of Islam, the FOI and the MGT, the young brothers and sisters, in particular, those young ones who are joining today, we have to give them a massive, massive round of applause, a massive vote of thanks. Because you see, brother, for a young person in a world like this to choose to come out, man, that's applaudable, brother. That's laudable. That's, you know, we say all praise is due to Allah for those young people, man, who recognize the truth and want to act upon it. But I'll close it like this, brother, and say it like this, because I've kind of said it already, but I think it's worthwhile emphasizing that when you study the prophets, when you study the history of prophecy and those who have gone before, what you will find is that it was never the masses of the people who believed. It was never the masses of the people who followed. It was always a small contingent, sometimes literally 12 disciples.
Yes,
out of
sir.
all, you know, just 12, only 12 disciples. And then those disciples may have had some other people who were looking at them. But in reality, it was never, ever the masses that heard, believed, and followed. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was such a beautiful human being when he was among us teaching, that he said he wanted to try and beat the prophecy of the 144,000 that was singing a new song. He believed that we could beat that prophecy, brother, where we could rise our people up by the tens of thousands and even by the millions. And we don't give up on that idea. We want to beat the prophecy. We want to bring our people. We want our ranks to open up and the people to flood in to the Nation of Islam.
Beautiful. All praises due to Allah. Yes, sir. People showing you love all across the country. My sister Naima, Brother Roosevelt from New Orleans. Thank you, everyone who continues to show love. My next question for you, sir, is the idea that these are aliens or Martians, green men with big eyes and fingers, and, you know, Star Trek type situation. How do you explain it to people who don't necessarily read scriptures, that these are Black people or original people flying these spaceships, flying the mother plane, baby plane? How do you explain it to people who think that it's only green people in the sky controlling it?
Well, first of all, brother, I'm glad that you did that hand signal, because I can't do it. But, you know, brother, it's actually quite easy to explain. It is really easy to explain, in that the question that we should ask those who believe such is, when was the last time you saw the green man? You know, when was the last time you were accosted by a big-headed, big-eyed gray, as they call some of these so-called aliens? You see, because brother, we are living in a fantasy world created by Hollywood, in believing in such and believing in things that have never materialized in reality. However, I can point you to a Black man. You know, I can show you Black people, and I can tell you, man, that, you know, again, most of the inventions, for instance, that many of us take for granted, things like the vacuum cleaner. I don't know what you call it there. The vacuum cleaner,
yes,
the cold lorries, you know, these I think again in America you'd say trucks, but the trucks that transport people's food all across the country on the highways or whatever, that are chilled lorries. I'm talking, everything I'm mentioning now was invented by a black person.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And most of these inventions were at the turn of the century when we were not allowed to patent our inventions. This light bulb that we all take for granted, and we think of Graham Bell, Alexander Graham Bell. No, no, no. The telephone, all of these communication systems, the telegraph, these are black people, you see. And why am I pointing this out? Because it is us, my dear brother, who are the people of genius. We are the people, we are the creative people who, when we were enslaved, brought on a westerly course into the Western Hemisphere, destroyed as a human reality. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan talks about those 64 years of hidden history.
Yes, sir.
Where they had to transform a black man and a black woman into a slave because we were not slaves. They didn't find slaves in Africa.
That's right.
They found upright, beautiful people who were artisans, engineers, skilled people who had the ability to be able to make and design and do things. That's why we were able to map out the city of Washington. It was a black man that did that. That's why we were the builders of these magnificent structures that people, the tourists, come today and look at and say, wow, not realizing that it was black people, not just doing the manual labor, but designing and constructing, beloved. And so, you know, I think it's important that our people appreciate that when we say that these vehicles are piloted by blacks, that we don't, you know, you see, it's sad that so many of us have bought into the inferiority complex, where we really think that black people can't do.
That's right. That's right.
You know, black people, oh man, you know, it's the white man, the white man. No, no, dear family. You know, one time I was in Hyde Park and I was teaching and I was wearing one of these beautiful suits, and this poor brother shouted, he said, yeah, but you know, why are you being a hypocrite? Because you're wearing the white man's suit. And I had to explain to him, my dear brother, first of all, I told the people, you know, this is why you never hit your children in the head when they're small, because they grow up, they will have something wrong with the brain if you cause that kind of injury. Okay, because he was saying this in the public, brother, in front of a lot of white people and making himself look very stupid. But the point is this, when the white man was on his all fours in the caves and hillsides of Europe, brother, grunting, this was only 4,000 years ago. We can show history 6,000 and 8,000 and 10,000 years ago when the black man was wearing silk and robes. We had underfloor heating in Egypt. We planted our fields and our plants, the fragrant plants, in such a way that they would blow the fragrance into the courtyards of the palaces that we had in those areas in Africa, my dear brother. And I'm not making something up. We can prove this at no limit of time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This was the ingenuity and the genius. To this day, you have the Caucasian going into Egypt, looking at the pyramids, brother. And to this day, he cannot give an explanation for how those blocks of stone were erected in their millions, how those shafts were cut into those pyramids that are so geometrically precise.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How we got our measurements so accurate within a degree of pi, you know, and all of these things are so profound and so deep that the scientists of this world today can't explain how we did, because we had a higher science than anything that they've even got today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You see, and you know, it's just for us again, you know, again, at the end of the day, you see, this is why one is called a believer and the other is called a disbeliever. Because in the end, my dear brother, This is what it comes down to. And we're not talking about, again, belief in spooks or imaginary things. What we're talking about is a belief in self. Do you believe in yourself? You know, my dear brother Joshua, I don't know about you personally, but, you know, I know generally that as a people, we have some magnificent dreams.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, sometimes we lay down, brother, and we go to sleep and we dream and we see some stuff, man. And we're almost afraid to wake up and tell anybody about what we saw and how we saw ourselves in our dream. But these dreams that we have, these visions that we see, these things, these thought processes that we have from time to time, they're not given to us just for conjecture. We don't have these things by accident. It is because they are a reflection of who we really are. And we are a people, my dear brother, who are infused, we are imbibed with the power of God. We are God. Ye are God's children of the Most High God. And, you know, we are the pilots of these vehicles. And I feel sorry for those who will be waiting to see a little green man pop out, brother. Because God knows what they're going to do when they see a tall black man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Out. You see, because this is the reality of the pilots of these vehicles. They are black. They've been on board since the age of 6. And they've been trained to such a precise level that according to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they can literally hit their targets blindfolded. They already have their targets. And they are such expert pilots that they literally can read the thoughts of those who may desire to prevent their mission in that particular wheel being piloted by them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And they can anticipate the move of the enemy before the enemy makes his move. But again, I think it's important for us to just appreciate and to think about our own personal individual lives. Think about some of those thoughts that we have. Think about some of those experiences that we've had. You know, sometimes people will talk about deja vu. Oh man, I feel like I've done this before. This has happened to me, or I've been here before, but I can't. It's inexplicable because I know I've never been here, but somehow I've been here. These are all little indications of the power that is contained within us that we need to tap into by getting quiet, getting into some meditation, getting into some serious prayer. You know, when we pray, brother, we're attempting to talk to God.
Yes, sir.
When we meditate, we're listening for his voice. And we live in a very noisy world, brother, by design. And the more noise, the more we got our ear pods in, and we got our headphones on, and we're boogieing all day long on the street. We're walking to work, but we never give ourselves a chance to just tune in to self, to appreciate the magnificence of self, of the self. And that knowledge of self, once we get a grip on it and appreciate just who we are, we might then start to believe in the greatness of Black people and what we can actually do, what we can accomplish, and that the God is a Black man, and that the angels are Black, and that the pilots are Black, piloting these vehicles. And again, where I started, I would say, ask them, those who believe that these are Martians or people from Venus or some other place, and that they're green or they're gray. and they've got these massive heads on these little skinny necks and these long arms or whatever, ask them to show you one of them. You know, ask them to, because it's all well and good believing in something. You know, I can believe that there's an airplane directly hovering outside my window right now, but that's just a belief.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I can't prove it, in fact, but you know, the proof of the pilots will be made manifest at no limit of time. We just have to hang around for a few days because that's coming up.
All praises to Allah. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Leo. Tracy Muhammad says, Assalamu alaikum, family. Walaikum salam. People showing you love all across the country. We're coming right back to you. We have a few more, well, not a few more, actually, have quite a bit of questions for you, sir, because last week people were reaching out to me via YouTube, but especially the people I know personally, and they were saying, oh, okay, ask them this, please ask them that, ask them this. But we have a quick 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast who help keep the business going. Thank you all very much, so we can bring back amazing guests. Thank everyone who's watching with our brother. Here we go. All right, let me make sure I share this. And yes, we want to make sure that tomorrow's the 4th of July. We want to make sure that we have a comprehensive knowledge and or understanding of what many of us should be celebrating. All right. If you'd like to be a sponsor or donor to the People's Podcast, please cash out the People's Podcast. My brother Rashad, Street Premier Media Production. He has a 4K camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out. My sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me children's book, coloring book, and Spanish book. All 3 available on Amazon. My sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country, right here in the studio of Atlanta, Georgia. We love our tiny dancers. Rock Communications. If you're working on a book and you need copy editing, project management, content development, or media relations, please reach out to Rock Communications. Fashion Gods Urban Wear, 314-329-6009. Keep you dressed in the best of fashion. Student Minister Robert L. Muhammad, conflict mediation, squashing the beef throughout the Southwest region, especially in Austin, Texas. His wife, Sister Fudia Muhammad, Children of the Most High, giving birth to a God and the science of child rearing. Please get her book. Brother Kenneth, bow tie maker extraordinaire. He'll ship bow ties to you anywhere in the nation. Dr. Henry M. Carter, King Henry's Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad, COVID-19 disinfecting cleaning services. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. And last but not least, my 2 books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, all of which are available on Amazon. Thank you all very much. We appreciate every like, share, and subscription. Thank you everyone who continues to watch on Facebook as well. Yes, sir. My next question for you is, out of all of the years that the Nation of Islam has been in existence, especially with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad dealing with the reality of the mother plane, and now in this dispensation of time, the Most Honorable Farrakhan, how come the U.S. government or any government, the British government, any government or parliament has not come out and called the teachings lies, or the people who teach it liars when it comes to the reality of the mother plane?
Yeah, beautiful question, brother. Because they can't. And again, during the 7-week series that we did on The Wheel, Above Top Secret, we did quote Sister Mother Tainetta Muhammad, who stated that Master Farad Muhammad sat with the president of that day. In the 30s, he spoke to the president, brother. And we have elements of the teachings that even says that the devil was told, brother, that he could kill 300 of us max.
Allahu Akbar.
And beyond the number 300, brother, they would be wiped off the face of the earth.
Beautiful.
See? And so we believe that they know at the highest level, they know that Allah God came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. At the highest level, they know that the mothership is the vehicle of God. At the highest level, they know that this vehicle, because again, I was trying so desperately hard to find the video. I had many years ago, and for some reason I can't find it again. It was on YouTube, but I was trying to find this video, brother, that showed the curvature of the earth, and it's a shot from space. And then what you see is the little wheel moving along very slowly above the curvature of the earth. And then the wheel stops and moves away very fast. And then coming up from the earth, you see something like a rocket. And what that told me, brother, was that that was the enemy attempting to shoot down one of the wheels. But that the wheel knew before they even fired the weapon what was about to happen, and took evasive action and moved out of the way. Now, I'm saying that to say this. I believe, brother, see, they're talking about a new Cold War between Russia and America, or the West and Russia, and in truth, China, and there are other countries now. They're all aligning themselves in blocks, and more you're going to see a great divide between these countries, who will then engage in this Cold War, which eventually will ferment into a hot war.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But they talk about this Cold War, brother, but that Cold War, in my humble opinion, is nothing compared to the Cold War that has been going on since the 30s between God and Satan. You see? And I believe, brother, that they've been trying for many years to shoot down at least one of these baby planes. And we've got reports where, for instance, aircraft, fighter jet aircrafts from America, and I think on one occasion, one from Italy and possibly another one from Germany, have attempted to engage or attempted to fire on one of these wheels, and has been utterly destroyed. And so we believe that there is a war that is constantly going on, but it's like a Cold War between God and Satan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That there is a competition going on above our heads that we really know nothing about. But the reality is that they know that God is real, but the devil is so arrogant, my dear brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You got to remember that the devil don't believe in no spook God. He knows that God is a man. Not only that, he knows that God is a black man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you imagine American president saying, I tremble for my government.
That's right.
Or I tremble for my country, when I reflect on the fact that justice or God cannot sleep forever.
That's right. That's right.
Based on what they know they've done to God's people, they know that there is such a thing as divine retribution. So they know that they've got a chastisement coming. And this is not some metaphysical chastisement. This is a real live chastisement where they're about to be destroyed. And so in answer to your question, they can't let those words drop from their lips, brother. They can't call the truth a lie, because they know that one of these days, the truth will manifest, and every knee shall bow, and every tongue confess that God is God. And if you remember the story of Pharaoh, brother, it was right at the end when he was about to drown.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That he's bearing witness that there is no God but God. You see? And then the Holy Quran asked the question, what now? Is this the time that you're gonna confess? Too late. But they can't, brother. They can't. I mean, the devil is a liar, and he will try to. I mean, you know, the devil is very clever with language, especially the English language. That's his language of mastery, and he's very clever at implying that there is falsehood in what is being taught, but he won't ever come out himself and say this is a lie. He don't operate like that. He'll get foolish, dumb Negroes to say such things. You see what I mean? He will plant the seed on his minions to say such things. But at the very top level, they keep quiet, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Keep quiet.
Beautiful. All praise due to Allah. Thank everyone who continues to like, share, subscribe, and thank you, Brother Minister Leo, for this amazing information as well as inspiration. My next question for you, sir, is I have a new playlist on the People's Podcast where it shows all of the testimonies of people dealing specifically with the will. Many of the believers in the Nation of Islam have had experiences seeing baby planes and or the mother plane by themselves and or with the minister. Do you think that the more people testify, the more it could help awaken our people?
The testimonies are very, very important, brother. They're very important. I've listened to a couple of the brothers, one brother in particular in the E-team, who literally has the ability to basically call the wheels and they will make an appearance. And such testimonies are critically important, my dear brother, so that people understand that there is a relationship. If that brother can have a relationship with them, you and I can have a relationship with them. We just have to get in tune. You know what I mean? We just have to clean ourselves up. We just have to be more submissive. We just have to be more inclined to a pure belief in the majesty of Almighty God Allah. And I believe that such testimonies are invaluable for the people to realize again that we are not alone, we are not helpless, we are not devoid of salvation. Our Savior has arrived.
Beautiful. All praises due to Allah. Hold on a second. Yes, sir. Okay, boom. And thank you everybody who continues to watch. My next question for you, sir, is you spoke earlier of the British Empire and the connection to the American Empire. How important is it for Black people in America to study what has happened in Britain and what is going on consistently in Britain so that we can have a better understanding of what you all experience, our brothers and sisters who are in England? How important is it that we understand you all's history as well, as opposed to just knowing American history?
Yeah, it's critically important, brother, because again, I was in America on one occasion, and there was a brother who said to me, "You all speak English in England?" And I was like, wow, man, come on, brother. Listen to what you're saying. It's English. It comes from England.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And it's just important that our people make that connection and understand who and what England is, what it represents. England, engineering. It's the land of engineering. These people are manufacturers of lies, schemes, schisms. These are the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the Englishman, of all the Europeans, the Englishman is the wisest. All of them, brother. Listen to what the honorable Elijah Muhammad said, brother. He said the American white man is 99% devil. He said the Englishman is 100% devil, brother. You just have to understand that this is England, the maker of America. Very, very important.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And it's important that our people know that relationship. It's sad, so many of our people thinking that England is this genteel place, this nice little quaint place, where the police don't carry guns, they just carry a little stick.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think I heard Dave Chappelle saying all they got is a whistle. And they blow, there's a criminal running down the road, he's just committed an heinous crime and he's running down the road and the policeman blows his whistle and the criminal stops dead in his tracks and he goes off to jail. Come on, man. All you got to do is go and get one of the old Sherlock Holmes movies, Sherlock Holmes, and look at those black and white films, and you see that whenever Sherlock Holmes needed to get his hand on a gun, he could get a gun. Okay, the unarmed British policeman is a myth. And I'll tell you something very quickly, because you see in America, it's a gun society. That's why you literally got it enshrined in the Second Amendment. you know, the right to bear arms and
Yes,
to
sir.
have
Yes,
a
sir.
militia, to literally have a militia that's designed to check the power of the government. I mean, think about that. In the UK, there is no such thing. The population is mostly unarmed, apart from the elites, the rich, the royal families, and those connected with them. They all have their shotguns and they go shooting pheasants, and you know, it's they go hunting and doing all of these types of things. There's plenty of guns for that class of people, but for the masses of the people, most of the gun ownership will be illicit gun ownership. It would have been smuggled in from some war zone somewhere, or you know, some other device. They will convert replica firearms into being able to fire guns, and maybe after you fire it 3 times, then it will blow up in your face or whatever. You know, they will steal shotguns from farms and then cut those shotguns down so that they then become sawn off shotguns, things of that nature. You know, so you've got some weapons here, but in truth, it's not. It doesn't have a tradition of the masses of the people being armed. Whereas in America, that's going back to the days of the cowboys. Everybody has always had weapons.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Everybody's always been armed, and as I said, it's been enshrined in the Second Amendment. Now, I only mentioned that to say, you know, they now have a contingent of the British police forces which are armed all the time. Okay, so you've got these armed units that drive around in special vehicles with like some big, heavy kind of automatic weapons, then something on the hip. Then they've got lots of different stuff that they, you know, weapons that these are armed police. And I think the major excuse for having these armed 24-hour police is terrorism. Okay, I think that was the fundamental excuse that they used to introduce these paramilitary type police who are on the streets all the time. But what I've noticed, brother, about the police in the UK is that if they get an excuse to pull the trigger, they don't need much of an excuse. They will execute you in the street. They love to kill, especially if you're black. They will shoot you dead, brother. Whereas I think, and I'm not suggesting that the American police are any less trigger happy, but I think that there is a kind of comfort zone that many of the Americans have with guns, whereby, you know, I think you yourself, you could be walking down the street tomorrow. What city are you in, brother?
Atlanta, Georgia.
So you could be walking in Atlanta, Georgia, and you could see an armed policeman, and maybe you wouldn't even look twice because you're used to it. It's normal. You'd be standing talking to him and or her, and you wouldn't be fixated looking at the gun. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Whereas here, there is a kind of, it's still a bit weird when you're seeing these people with all of these weapons all over their bodies. They got taser, they got stuff on their hip, they got the big thing in their hand, whatever, at the airports and other places. But what I noticed with them is that they seem to be very, very trigger happy. Whereas I think in America, there's a more, I think you've got elements in America who love to kill those officers who use the excuse to shoot and kill people. But I think there's a lot of officers in America who wear it as a matter of part of the uniform, and that they won't. You might hear a testimony from one of those that, man, I've never drawn my gun.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because he doesn't feel the necessity to be constantly doing some gunplay.
Yes,
Whereas
sir.
over here, when they wear the gun, I get the impression that just the attitude that they have, that they're looking for an excuse to pull it out and to discharge it on somebody. And you know, the chances that what probably happens is that people don't give them that excuse. But whenever they do get a chance, they will absolutely blow you away. So that's how I kind of see it between the two nations in terms of guns and how they handle that.
Beautiful. Yes, sir. All praise due to Allah. And Sister Khadija, Sister Allah, and family, sending greetings to you, sir, all the way from Chester, Pennsylvania, showing love, Brother Taj, as well. Okay, yes, sir. They said nothing but love for you, and Sister Issa as well. All right, yes, sir. My next question for you is, speaking of that, do you ever face fear? And if so, how do you overcome that fear?
I've faced fear in the past, and you know, through the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we are taught how to overcome such fear because we have to contextualize fear. We're taught to fear no one and nothing but Allah.
Yes, sir.
You know, because He is the most fearsome. You know, I remember one time I was talking to a couple of my children. They were listening to 50 Cent.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, just the way they were kind of like, you know, going on about 50, you know, I was thinking to myself, come on, man. I said, listen, I'm more fierce than 50 Cent, okay? All right? You need to watch yourself, because I just don't like this thing where we are, maybe we're looking at somebody in a manner to fear them because of their display of being a bad man or something like that, their big chestedness, or
Yes,
you know, the bravado talk, or the bad language or whatever. You know, that's just nonsense. You know, we must learn to fear the one who is the giver of life and the one who can cause death. The ultimate cause of death is Almighty God Allah, because no one dies without His permission.
That's right. That's right.
And so brother, you know, I can't say to you that I've never felt trepidation, pangs of fear, but I never ever, you know, like, how can I describe this to you? You know, I've been a performer, okay? I'm
Yes,
a
sir.
trained actor, and for over 25 years in this country, brother, I did stand-up comedy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so live on stage, me, and I can do one-man shows lasting for 2-3 hours. Just me on the stage, talking to the people. And what I did was edutainment. So I wasn't just trying to be funny, going low down, telling dirty jokes, swearing, none of that, brother. All clean stuff. Your grandmother could be in the audience, or your children could be in the audience. Mm-hmm. But I would be attempting to make you laugh and make you nod your head at the same time, because I'll be telling some truths. So I'll be using the teachings in a way that was like medicine. And I did that for over 25 years in this country. Now I'm telling you, brother, there was never once that I was backstage waiting to be introduced to come on stage that I use the word terrified.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's a scary thing, brother.
Yes, sir. I understand. Yes, sir.
To imagine that you're gonna go and make people laugh, and especially the kind of comedy that I did, where like I said, I wasn't looking for no cheap laughs, those low down things. I was really trying to appeal to the intelligence of the audience, and I know some of the audience members didn't always necessarily appreciate that. They wanted that low down stuff. They wanted that filthy stuff. And maybe the guy who was on the stage before me was giving them plenty of that. But now here comes Leo Muhammad to change the atmosphere and bring something clean and wholesome, but at the same time, very funny. And so what I used to do, brother, what I would do under those circumstances is I would always pray to Allah. I never went on stage before praying. And then when I would be about to go on, brother, the adrenaline I would just switch it from fear into energy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying? And the last time I was with you and you asked a similar question to this, what I said to you was, I've contextualized fear in this way, because people like me, whether people appreciate it or not, our lives are actually in danger. The enemy doesn't like Leo Muhammad in the UK, I can assure you.
Yes, sir.
And things have been done to try to prevent me from being able to feed my family. I've been under some kind of economic sanctions, you could say, in this country for many years. And there's other things which have happened, you know, denying me visas to travel and things of that nature, basically trying to confine me to a particular place. And people have wanted to silence my voice in this country in terms of giving the teachings, whatever. So there's been lots of incidents and things which have happened, which have demonstrated to me that, you know, I'm under some form of attack. But in reality, brother, I don't fear it. I love it. I've got the most fearless leader on the planet, brother. And what we got to learn to do is to follow the leader.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You understand what I'm saying? What's the point in claiming a man like that to be your leader, and then you're going to be some sniveling coward? No, man, that if that's my leader, my teacher, and my guide, what did he say? He said, I will not run from you, I will run to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so we have to emulate the leader, brother. We have to be like him. We have to model ourselves on him, because he modeled himself on the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the most honorable Elijah Muhammad modeled himself on Master Farad Muhammad, brother. So if we are truly believers in this mission, we cannot fear. We must channel that fear, turn that fear into pure adrenaline energy, and give the fear back to the enemy. I asked the enemy one day in Hyde Park, I said, I know you love to kill, but are you as willing to die? Turn it back on the enemy, brother. Because the enemy don't like death. He really don't. He likes to threaten everybody with death, but turn it back on him and ask him the question, are you ready to die? Because I'm ready to die. Brother, I'm ready to live for this work. That's what I'm ready to do. But brother, I'm not afraid to die for this work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is what the enemy relies on, our fear of death.
That's right. That's
that
right.
will prevent us from doing the work. No, sir. As I said to you the last time, as you and I are speaking, babies are dying. Little children are dying.
You're teaching, yes, sir.
So if a baby is dying as I'm speaking, if little children are dying as I'm speaking, who am I, brother, to be so arrogant as to think that my life is so precious over and above that little baby or that little child who hasn't even had a chance to live yet?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man. I said it last time. I said, I live longer than Michael Jackson. I've lived longer than Bob Marley. I've lived longer than Martin Luther King. I've lived longer than Malcolm X. Come on, man. These were great people.
Yes, sir.
Great people. Leo Muhammad is not even yet approaching their level of greatness. So the fact that I'm here, brother, living into these ripe old ages that I've reached so far, I'm 36, brother. You believe that? I said I'm 36, Joshua.
Yes, sir. Yes, I heard it. I got the joke. I got the joke, brother. I got the joke. I got the joke. Yes, sir.
You understand what I'm saying? Come on, man. Come on, man. This is no time for cowardice. This is no time for fear. This is no time for those type of concerns. We say to the enemy, bring it on. Bring it on.
All praises due to Allah. Excellent. Yes, sir. We have two more questions for you. And Sister Allah says, Allahu Akbar. Sister Isa says, wow, thank you for your family and your sacrifices. We thank you a lot for your sacrifices as well, Brother Minister. My next question for you, since you know the comedy and one-man shows, what's your favorite stand-up that you like watch that makes you laugh?
I mean, my number one, brother, was always Richard Pryor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What I loved about Richard, brother, was his honesty. He was very profane.
Yes, sir.
The language was outrageous. You know, but if you can, with Richard, if you can look beyond the profanity, not that you ignore it, because it was a significant and fundamental part of everything he did.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But nonetheless, what it was, brother, it was the truth that he was highlighting and talking about and telling all throughout the act
That's
of
right.
his comedy.
That's right.
So Richard is always, he was always my number one, brother. He was always my number one.
Yes, sir. One of my favorite stand-up comedians as well. And I think I had him. I think I had him one. We top three. We did a thing on my podcast with top stand-up comedians, and we were arguing about Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy and things of that nature, for sure. Yes, sir. Our last question for you, sir, is once again, where can we get the 7-part series that you did on the Mother Plane Above Top Secret? Where can we watch it? Where can we see it?
Yes, you can go to the Nation of Islam London Study Group. That you can find that on YouTube. Nation of Islam London Study Group. Imagination. You will see the Imagination shows. You will see. I think we have done now 38 shows. 38 shows. 7 of those were on the wheel above Top Secret, and you can find those on that particular platform. And you know, we would appreciate if you would visit and subscribe and become a part of the Imagination family. And you know, we intend, by the grace and mercy of Allah, if He spares our life, to continue to, you know, do these shows on a weekly basis every Thursday at 6:30 p.m., which I guess is 1:30 Central Time, where you are in Atlanta. And you know, we would invite the brothers and sisters to tune in. We go live on Zoom and also on YouTube every Thursday evening.
Beautiful. All praises to Allah. I want to thank you on behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast for your sacrifice and the sacrifice of your family. May Allah continue to bless you, sir. I look forward, if you ever, inshallah, we'll see each other in person, but I would love to see your one-man show. I would love to see a comedy, Minister. I would love to see that.
Yes, sir. Well, one of these days, brother, inshallah, it'd be wonderful to be able to come to Atlanta, to be able to come to the States.
Yes, sir.
I was invited to do Live at the Apollo in the 90s, but again, because of visa issues, I don't know if you've heard the story in this country of the Windrush scandal, but Windrush was the ship in 1948 that many Black people came from the Caribbean on. That was like a first wave immigration to England. And then those of us who came after, who were the children of that Windrush generation, many of us, what the government in the United Kingdom did was that they deliberately created what they called a hostile environment for Black people in this country, in order that we would be perpetually insecure in not being able to sort out our immigration status. So even though those people had fought in the Second World War for Britain, even though they had come over here, done all of the ancillary work, worked in the hospital, drove the buses, drove the trains, did all of those menial jobs or whatever and tasks, they were kept in a social position where their documentation was never sorted. And then what the government began to do was literally deport people from England back to the Caribbean who had lived there for over 50 years, brother, on the basis that they were illegal immigrants. This is some sick stuff. And I was one of those Windrush children who I've been here since 1967. I came from Jamaica in 1967. I've lived here, and it was 53 years. It took 53 years for me to get a British passport, brother. And that only happened 2 years ago because of the scandal that broke when all of the government was exposed for this nasty, hostile environment that they were operating on Black people from the Caribbean. And so, you know, this is the type of thing. So I was invited to go to the Apollo and perform, but I wasn't able to make it because I didn't have the proper documentation and so on and so forth. But inshallah, God willing, in the future, I would love to have an opportunity to come to the States and maybe do a tour and, you know, give some examples of the edutainment and, you know, just talk to our people in America.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. The honor will be ours. We would love to help host you. And if not, Inshallah, I will be going there. My sister Naima wants to go to the Eiffel Tower. She's always talking about the Eiffel Tower. My other, so my siblings, we want to go see what the fuss is about in London. We want to, see. And I didn't know, like, I was one of the people who didn't know how many black people were actually in London. I thought it was just, the Beatles and I don't know, what I'm saying, Fergie or something. I don't know what was going on over there until I saw the Believers in the Nation, who helped me see black people in London to make it human. For me, I didn't know there was that many black people there. So
yeah, there's about there's probably around they say there's like 3 to 4 million non-whites. Okay, so that includes South Indians and other people, Chinese and whatever. But as far as solid black people, African Caribbean people, maybe 1.5 million, maybe of us, maybe that kind of number. But we're very dispersed. There's no real black community here. We live cheek by jowl with white people, brother. Everything is mixed up here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, by design. The enemy is very clever here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He doesn't allow that. There used to be more sort of black communities, but they've all been gentrified and dispersed more and more and more.
Yes, sir. Well, this is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Minister.
Wa alaikum salam, soldier. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.